So, hi everyone. To today's webinar, welcome to the future of identity, Ping Identity and ForgeRock, powered by IC Consult. My name is Heiko Kladl. I'm the Chief Marketing and Sales Officer of IC Consult, and I will guide you today with my two colleagues, Andre, our CTO, and Matt Brzezinski from Ping Identity. Through today's session, we will have an interactive discussions, and you can involve yourself by raising questions. Couple of housekeeping activities before. Your mic is automatically muted, so there is no need to mute yourself. If there is any question from your side, you have in the GoToWebinar control panel an area questions, and you can provide the questions. We will pick it up and come back to you. The session will be recorded, so if you can't make it the whole time, or if you have colleagues being interested in watching our webinar instead on their Friday evening Netflix series, feel free to share it. It will be worth the time. And at the end, we will have a Q&A session. So basically, listen if there's any questions, drop your question, and we are happy to pick it up afterwards. Can we go to the next slide, please? As said, barely introduced at the beginning, our speakers. Myself, leading the marketing and sales piece at IC Consult. Andre Priebe, our Chief Technology Officer, deep into the technology, and Matthew Brzezinski, Senior Director of Product Management. So the right person for Ping Identity. Welcome, Andre, and welcome, Matt.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I suggest to start directly and go into the details. But first of all, give me half a minute to introduce IC Consult, and then I hand over to Matt for giving an introduction on the new Ping Identity and ForgeRock as a new combined company. So who's IC Consult? IC Consult is the world's largest systems integrator, consultancy and managed services provider for identity-driven cybersecurity and identity and access management. We're across the globe, more than 850 employees, and we're helping large customers and major customers such as BMW, Toyota, Jaguar Land Rover, Porsche or Mercedes, and a lot of other customers solving their digital challenges when it comes to digital identity. We have been awarded the Ping EMEA Partner of the Year this year. I've been in Denver a couple of weeks ago attending the award ceremony, and it's a great pleasure for us to work closely together with a partner for a long time, and seeing both partners coming together is an incredible story. Now, Matt, both partners coming together, is that the right key word? Would you be so kind to give an introduction on the new Ping Identity?
Absolutely, Heiko. Thank you, everybody, for having me here, and I couldn't be more excited about the future of the new Ping Identity company that we have today. If you think about the two companies that have come together, you have Ping Identity, who had a really strong solution. It was very modular, it's very configurable, it's very easy to get quick time to market and quick time to value capabilities. It does a fantastic job where you look at where Ping Identity is, and if you bring along the ForgeRock, the legacy or the heritage ForgeRock platform, it's very extensible. It allows people to create very tailored experiences for SIAM, for workforce, things along those lines. May take a little bit more to get up and running, but sometimes you see that where you need those opportunities. The great thing that we see when we look across these two organizations and the customers they serve, that there really isn't a whole lot of overlap in their sweet spots. You know, both organizations have areas where they really excel and areas where they don't, and they don't overlap. So it's a really exciting time to be here, where we can bring the most flexible identity and access management platform to the market. Along with those lines, the other great couple of things that we have is that both of our companies were very innovative, and just by happen chance, we were innovating in different directions. So if you look at where Ping Identity has been innovating in the past, we have a huge authorization engine that is really sophisticated with authorizations. We have identity verification capabilities that is really bar none. And we've been investing in decentralized identity, which is the next big wave that's coming. You can't even dispute that, for 5 to 7 years. So there's a lot of innovation on that side, as well as a whole nother set of orchestration capabilities outside of the ForgeRock Intelligent Access tree. So now, you know, the analyst, everybody's been saying orchestration is the key to identity management. And now you have the two best orchestration engines out there. If you look at what ForgeRock brings to the table, ForgeRock has been innovating in identity governance, has really strong lifecycle management. So these are all capabilities that can be offered to the Heritage Ping customers. So for any customer out there, we have new and exciting innovation that they can leverage. And then the last thing I just want to say, I just want to say it very clearly, is that we are not killing any of our product lines. No matter what you've invested in, it is safe, and we are going to build and innovate and continue to build on those. You know, as I said to begin with, each organization addressed a different set of the market with different market needs, and we feel to be the best identity management company going forward that we need to be able to address the broad market. And with this, we bring the most broadest, most in-depth identity management capabilities, not only in how you deploy and consume it, but the capabilities you have out there. So it's really great for us to be able to come and tell all of our customers your investment is safe, and you can leverage the innovation of the other companies right now, today, to be able to expand what you are currently doing. And I couldn't be more delighted than I am to be here and discuss this with our great partner from EMEA, as Heiko said, won our EMEA Partner of the Year. And I'm just delighted to be here to talk to you guys and share their expertise and mine with you. So thanks, Heiko. Thanks for the time.
You're welcome. And you gave us already great keywords. So just to underline it for those who have not been listening carefully. So you as a customer are safe, which is a great message. So product stacks will be alive and will survive. And the second one is, as you said, both companies have been very innovative. And now the innovation comes together. So customers from the other side have the possibility to leverage the innovation without choosing the vendor, which is great news, making things a lot easier. Andre, what have been your thoughts back in time when the rumors started, and basically finally when the merger has been announced from this kind of innovation and delivery point of view?
Yeah, so there's of course one aspect which is true, even if Matthew, I completely agree, it's complementary, because the sweet spot is a little bit different from Ping Identity and ForgeRock had in the past. But on the other hand, in the final round of RFPs, very often there were ForgeRock against Ping Identity. And but the customer were often aware, hey, there are the differences, but we have to make that decision. And then we finally are reaching the point, there's no decision to make anymore about that, because you get all the kind of extraordinary, unique selling propositions now from both. So it's really kind of complementary thing. But my thoughts when that was then finally announced went a little bit into a different direction. So it is not even 12 months ago, right? I think it was somehow in August, September last year, if I remember it correctly. And what is true was true then, but still is as of today, we are under attack. We are massively under attack. Gen AI decreased the level of knowledge required to do sophisticated attacks against enterprises. It allowed to do scalable phishing attacks on a very, very high level of quality. So the situation is completely different than 12 months ago. And having that in mind, to me, that was really kind of situation saying, hey, now these both very innovative companies are combining their development power, and that's something what we as an industry absolutely need, because one alone would be difficult to keep up with this very high level of performance we see at the attacker side. Yeah, from that point of view, I'm really happy and excited that that happens, that we now have all these capabilities together and can leverage that to protect our clients' IT assets.
Absolutely. I think, Andre, one of the things you hit right on the head is that the combined development teams and being able to put more development behind the technology that's going to be there, that needs to be evolved and innovated very quickly to keep up with the Gen AI and the other fraud that's happening out there in the marketplace. And I think there's two things that can be said about that, is that, you know, as I said, we're already investing heavily into decentralized identity, which will be good to get rid of passwords in the middle and give people control over their identity data. And then the other thing is that as we look at putting our identity teams together and we look at supporting all the solutions we have out there, we will be sharing, you know, capabilities. So what Ping has done well historically can come into the historic ForgeRock stack, and what ForgeRock has done historically well can come into the Ping stack. And so overall, you're going to see the best of the best rise to the top, and that's only going to be great for our customers as we try to keep up with what's going on in the landscape today. As you said, fraud is exploding, and it's not slowing down, no matter what you want to believe.
Absolutely. So the development was really incredible on the good side for getting support in doing things quicker, doing things smarter, but also on the bad side, when cyber criminals are using these capabilities as well, improving their attack scenarios. When we look to customers, like probably many in the audience who have either a Ping or a ForgeRock stack using access management pretty much heavily, from my point of view, there is the kind of, you start with an access management in former days, probably just username and password. You've added an MFA piece, probably went to passwordless. What are the new Ping's capabilities when it comes to securing this authentication chain even more? When I think, for example, on the kind of Ping Protect or Ping Verify piece. Can you elaborate a bit more on that? So how existing customers with an installation can benefit immediately as of now by using new capabilities that are now available?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you look at the existing stack that we offer across all of the customer platforms now, I think you hit on a few of those, right? It's you know, if you look at a typical customer journey, they had username and password, then they've added MFA, and now you probably have customers that are tired of MFA because that's just, how do I stop passwords from being hijacked? I use MFA and now I have to use my phone every time I want to authenticate. So, you know, I think one of the things you look at is contextual based authentication, and there's a lot of ways to do that. We automatically think about Ping Protect because it's this heuristic type of capability that looks at all these different fraud signals, and it is fantastic. And I really am excited to have that product in our portfolio. However, there's other things that we can do in conjunction to that with the orchestration engines, and whether that's DaVinci or whether that's intelligent access trees, you can leverage the context to make different decisions along the way to provide better experiences. And then when you start talking about account takeover, one of the places that we suffer account takeover is in those password resets or those device resets. And leveraging Verify is very important so that you know you're dealing with the person who holds that account. But you know, the thing that we didn't really talk about was on the workforce side, or on that, what do you have access to side, the governance side. And you know, now you have the ability to leverage governance and roles and join, remove, or leaver in the Ping platform, as well as the ForgeRock platform, so that people only have access to the things they need. So if an account is compromised, the damage can quickly be limited. So I think there's a lot of great things that are going on there. And Andre, I know you have experience seeing this in the field, so I'll let you kind of talk about that as well.
Yeah, so from my point of view, so I completely can second that, and to mention the two aspects which from my point of view are likely the most important ones. So I would say for the existing Ping customers, it's we know that topics like least privilege is extremely important to follow the zero trust paradigm, and bringing the ForgeRock IGA into the landscape might help the Ping customers a lot to improve their processes there. The other aspect, you mentioned orchestration, but what I really want to highlight is the importance of getting rid of all phishing vulnerable authentication methods, and I'm including MFA in general there, absolutely, yeah. Unfortunately, still many customers are working with one-time passwords or with push notifications, but without protection against phishing attacks and so on, and really introducing phishing-resistant MFA. And also including things like Windows desktop login, these kind of things, that's absolutely mandatory from my point of view nowadays. And here is something in which I see the potential of DaVinci as an orchestration engine, because this allows our customers to really have flexible processes in place, adapting perfectly to the context of the individual user, depending on the type of user. Is this an employee? Is it a contractor, a supplier? Is it an end customer? And is he in a specific region, a specific market, specific subsidiary, which for any reason is leveraging different technologies, different methods than another region. This allows us to handle that complexity without getting lost in it, yeah, by having all the great capabilities around versioning, A/B testing, rollouts by users, and these kind of things. That's really something which allows us to handle that complexity in global scenarios. Yeah? And I think that's also kind of prerequisite for everything we want to achieve around decentralized identities on the one hand, and the other aspect I want to bring here, it allows us to leverage all the kind of document proofing biometric methods we will require to protect us against the sophisticated deep fake attacks we have seen recently, in which we have the video conference with the CEO of your organization, but it is not the CEO of the organization, even if it sounds and looks that way. Yeah? And these are the things we have to prepare ourselves, our clients' organizations, in order to prevent these kind of attacks in the future.
Absolutely. You have now elaborated on the attack side of the business, so probably related strong to workforce, a bit to SIAM. Things like DaVinci, so giving you an orchestration engine with a lot of flexibility must be the dream of every marketing manager when it comes to SIAM user journeys, isn't it?
Yeah, I would agree with that, Heiko, that, you know, just allowing organizations to design their tailor-made custom journeys the exact way they want them to look, the exact way they want them to go, is what every, you know, marketing organization wants to do when it comes to customer retention, when it comes to customer onboarding, when it comes to providing that very slick look and feel. So, you know, I think we've been talking about orchestration in the space for the last 3 or 4 years. It was a big highlight in a lot of the analysts' documentation last year and the year before that. Now it's assumed that it's there, but that's a false assumption. And I think when you look at where Ping Identity is now, we have fantastic orchestration that really allows people to do everything they want to do and string not only identity management capabilities together, but then other types of applications and flows together as well. So you can take a customer or an employee on a journey from authentication all the way to the final task that they want to get done, which, you know, really speeds up productivity or helps, you know, sales conversion. it's really a really powerful tool that can be leveraged even outside of identity. And I think a lot of organizations are starting to look at that.
And one aspect which, from my point of view, is more than just nice, it allows us to bring in the complete context, which is important and which is not just related to the identity system, but to the many surrounding systems, by making call outs, getting the additional information to make a good decision, to ask the right question, to go into the right direction, or maybe asking for further attributes, for further information, or making the perfect decision when it comes to, hey, what is the best provider for that user to do the video identification or whatever, right? So really being perfectly aligned to what is the expectation of that single user, and not being completely generic, abstract, exactly the same flow for everybody, right? So I think that's something which really helps to make the perfect user experience, and at the same time reach a complete different level from a security perspective. Yeah? So it's not a kind of conflict of interest, but we can do both better user experience and better security at the same time, and that's really great.
Yeah, Andre, I think you hit the nail right on the head, right? It was a great analogy there. You don't want to ask somebody on a mobile phone to type a paragraph and to reset their account or to sign up for something, because obviously we all hate typing on our mobile phones unless we have to. So you can immediately in that orchestration engine say, oh, this is a mobile device. Let's use a different form of verification or whatever. And then you can say, you know, oh, that mobile device, it has a GPS. Where are they located? Should I even be talking to them now? Should I be doing, you know, there's so much that comes out of that orchestration, that whole context, and the decisions you can make. I think that's really key that you brought that out. So thanks for bringing that up, because that's really the power and the beauty of the orchestration engines.
That sounds great. And what I learned recently about Ping Verify, that there are a lot of systems of records directly connected. So for the majority of states when it comes to driving licenses. And I think that's a great feature. It's not only about possessing the document, because you can lose it or you can probably fake it depending on the quality of the service, but really drilling down to the record owner and identifying in real time you are Andre Breivy having a Californian driving license, and move on from there when it comes to shared mobility, for example, or other scenarios. That's really an awesome challenge, removing so much friction from the customer journey, but also from an employee and workforce journey, I imagine.
Completely agree.
I agree, and I think, you know, Heiko, you talk to a lot of customers and you've been asking a lot of questions. So I just want to take the time to ask you a question. You know, we talk about verification, identity verification as being something important. I think it was interesting, you know, our CEO said at SCO, if you would have asked me 3 years ago about identity verification, he would have said, that's somebody else's problem. And obviously it's not. We're an identity company, it's our problem. So we're providing that. But, you know, that and decentralized credentials, I think, goes so hand in hand. And I just wonder if you've run into or heard of any customers that are leveraging them to, you know, enable some great use cases or some interesting use cases in your day-to-day that you talk with people.
Absolutely. So it feels very strong as things are converging very strong and very quickly. So while things in the past have been separate, like you said, identity verification, and which have been really painful. I remember, as you know, my past is in delivery, customer doing identity verification or driving license verification globally. You had to do research for those providers, kind of country by country. Most providers cover several ones, but if you have a global rollout, it's really painful. Different interfaces, different implementations, different suppliers, different contracts. So it adds so much complexity on a kind of simple problem, verifying whether you are the person pretending you are, with one strong strong capability covering it all, and you get it in with a finger snip. That's really, really great. When talking about NEO or decentralized identity, there are great use cases out there. Sometimes it takes a bit of time to adapt it, get the message in your mind. So why is it important? So why can't you use just a standard Ping identity stack, put the identities in, and you are good to go? Because it's a paradigm shift, and as every paradigm shift, it's not just new technology, the same but indifferent, whether it's kind of an LDAP or a database, very, very kind of similar from a sales perspective, probably not from a technology perspective, but ending up from the same. And with my discussions, I talked about a couple of great examples. For example, a huge bank suffering from fraud within their application processes. So you might think, what can you do fraud-wise when it comes to application? Since the pandemic, all those things are virtual. We are not now on a stage in front of an audience. We are now on a virtual stage in front of a virtual audience. So basically, it's easy to pretend things, to exchange things. And when you have a multinational enterprise in an application process, you have most of the time several interviews, 2, 3, probably 4 or 5, depending on the seniority of the position. And people are exchanging. And majority out there knows as well, modern applications, a CV, simple document, 2 pages, no picture, no any additional credentials. So I can say I'm the founder of Microsoft, ForgeRock, and Ping Identity, and now I'm applying for someone else. And it will be correct on the Word document. And probably in the course of the interview process, someone will figure out, doesn't work out. So Heiko as a little baby starting at Microsoft, most likely not. Coming from that, imagine having Ping Neo there and creating a completely new application and interview process experience. First, you get the kind of invitation for the first interview with a call for action. Please download this app, enroll your identity, and you will have a guided journey through the whole interview process. The person starting the interview downloads a Ping Neo based app, does the enrollment, for example, by providing just first name, last name, and his or her email address. And then comes the trick, doing a bit of biometric authentication. So using, when it comes to the Apple ecosystem, Face ID, checking that I'm there, and storing this information in Ping Neo. And then I'm bound to it. And in every second step, in the second interview and in the third interview, I can verify myself, to my understanding, that I'm really there. When I have a twin, I can't send my brother, who is probably very good in numbers when I'm applying in tax and accounting, doing and rocking the show, and I'm probably being a philosopher, good in talking, or a marketing person, but not that good in numbers, will end up getting the job, whilst I basically don't have a clue. And this kind of fraud can easily happen in the course of such an interview process, and you can create, on the one hand, a great user experience, but having this tight connection there. Andre.
Yeah, so I would say, so that's a very specific use case, but it is showing something in general what is really kind of risk to our whole society. Yeah? So by nature, we give the people we are talking with a lot of implicit trust up front, right? And that's good. And if you together with them in the real world, not in a video conference, okay, then you have a kind of body language and kind of science which shows you that he is trustworthy or not, and this is something we completely lose in the remote world. Yeah, and in the near future, Heiko, I can give you my AI trained skin, and then you can make the video conference for me and look like me, and then I get the job at the end of the day. But this will affect a lot of processes, business and private life in the future. And that we as a society are not ending up in the situation in which we cannot trust anymore anybody, I think we'll get used to working with a kind of decentralized identity approach, which allows organization to issue a credential. Hey, that's an employee of IC Consult, and you can prove that to other companies we are working for. Or an applicant for a job, a member of a club. There will be many situations in which that really will be the kind of a tool for our society that we still can interact with each other with trust. So that's my gut feeling, and that's why I believe that this topic of issuing credentials, decentralized identities in general, will for us in the future be super important from all perspectives, as an end user, as an organization, as an employer, doesn't matter. That's something I'm much looking forward to. Also showing my driver license on my mobile phone instead of understanding at the car rental station that unfortunately I forgot my driver license somewhere. So these kind of things which will make our lives easier.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, Andre, I think to me, you hit the nail right on the head. Again, you have great points. It's all about trust. And for any relationship to work in life, it's built on trust. And once that trust is broken, that relationship just doesn't function very well. And I think the same can be said for digital identities, right? And if you look over the course of the last few years, that trust is eroded away. And whether it's because, consumers, we can't trust big corporations with our data because, Facebook and Google have massive valuations by selling our data, or it's the corporations that are trying to sell us stuff can't trust us because of all the fraud and account takeover that's happened. The trust is just gone. And I think, to your point, you have a decentralized identity that allows you to reestablish that trust because it's not in a big database. It's not connected to a whole bunch of different backends. It's one piece of data that sits in your wallet that you can use to go prove to anybody who you are or what you're allowed to have access to, and only give out the information you need. So, you don't need to tell people, your date of birth and your, all your personal information to buy a TV. You just need to say, I am who I am, this is where I live, and here's my credit card, and my bank verifies all that. So have a nice day. You don't need to know anything else. So I think I think it's just going to really be helpful in establishing trust. And, Heiko, your example of, employee fraud, of, somebody doing the interview for you and then somebody else showing up to work. I need to figure out who I can hire to do my next interview for me, because I'll get a much better job that way. So,
So if I can be of any help, depending on the position, let me know.
There you go. Absolutely.
So we've been talking now a long time about very positive and good things. Let me just interrupt for a few seconds with a word to the audience. You have the chance to enter questions into the systems. We will have a Q&A session at the end. So if you have specific questions or generic questions on what we have discussed, on what the future will look like, on what's kind of depending on your Ping Identity or ForgeRock Stack, feel free to use the GoToWebinar control panel, drop your questions, and I'm happy to pick it up. Talking about a lot of good things, some customers may say, two companies merged together. Is there any risk for me? Do I have to consider anything in a special method? How is this? What's a Ping Identity's position on that question? And does valid ask from customers who have done a large investment, not only in the subscription, but also in implementing a sophisticated and customized solution for their needs?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it bears repeating. We said it in the beginning. We are committed to supporting and innovating and developing against all of our software and service platforms. So whether that's the Ping One cloud that was out there that's a multi-tenant cloud, or the ForgeRock Identity Cloud that is now the Ping One Advanced Identity Cloud. We're committed to both of those platforms. We are committed to all of the self-managed software that's on premise, as well as the Ping One Advanced Services, which is kind of the hosted cloud offering. And the reason that we are committed to that is that we understand identity is kind of the control plane for the world today, right? So you don't have a perimeter for your security anymore. Your identity is your perimeter. Your identity is what grants you access to your applications, your partners, your data, your APIs, or it's what prevents you that access. And so it becomes a critical, mission critical piece of infrastructure in an organization. And to say, hey, you know, we've become one company now. I'm sorry, you've invested a couple $1 million into this solution. You have to pull it out now. It is just not feasible in today's age. And that's, we understand that, and we completely are dedicated to supporting our customers down the line. And you're going to be able to see the best of both worlds coming together, and you're going to be able to leverage all the innovation. But if you don't believe me because of all that, I just want you to take a step back and think about the history of ForgeRock and how ForgeRock came about. You know, ForgeRock came about because Oracle bought Sun. And, you know, when this whole deal got announced, everybody, you know, said, oh, they're going to make you choose one platform or the other. Well, what happened with Oracle and Sun is Oracle made the Sun customers choose Oracle and migrate to Oracle. And all the Sun customers went down the open source route of the Sun software. And ForgeRock was there to support them, take on that code, develop, innovate, extend that code. So if we didn't learn anything, we definitely learned that if we force customers from one platform to the other, we can start a new company, and that's not at all what we want to do. So we've learned that lesson in our history, and we're going to support all of our customers because it is mission critical to them, the investments they've made, that it's just, you need to make sure you have stability, and we're going to provide that for you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andre. How can we from my IT Consult help customers around the globe with two very strong center of excellences, bringing those things together and kind of leveraging the new capabilities Matt has mentioned?
Yeah, well, so the good thing is IC Consult has two very large centers of excellence, one for Ping Identity, one for ForgeRock, and they are now joining forces to supporting the clients to leverage all the new capabilities which are out there, and there are a lot of things in the box for both of them. Yeah, so it's every change is of course a risk, yeah, but at the same time it's an opportunity. And from my point of view, this time the opportunity is much larger than the risk based on that merger. So we can then really help our clients to get a good understanding what is now the opportunity based on that merger by solving challenges much easier than before, or which were kind of blocker without a straight path before. So really using now these new capabilities out there to protect the environment. And I can just highlight, it's very, very important doing that, investing in that area, not migrating from one solution to the other, but by really utilizing the new tool set which allows us to protect, detect, defend our IT assets better than ever before.
Thank you. That makes sense. Before we are moving on with the Q&A session, when you have an outlook into the future, what's in for the future, or what's in for the customer benefiting from the combined capabilities?
Andre, I'll let you go first. I've been leading off everywhere, and you always make great points. So I'll let you go first.
Yeah, what's in for the customer? So in the future, so my expectation, yeah, that of course, as you have a much better insight into the roadmap and what's not on the official roadmap yet, but my expectation is that based on these joint, very innovative teams, yeah, which have their kind of secrets in a little bit different directions, is that we now having the most comprehensive capabilities provided by one vendor. Doesn't matter in which direction we are looking at, and I expect therefore that in addition to the things we were talking about, like decentralized identities, like orchestration, the possibilities to be able to detect that an attack is ongoing, that there's something suspicious happening, this area of leveraging AI for the good, that this is something in which we will see huge improvements in the future, which makes it for attackers much more difficult to get around that parameter of identity we are now bringing in front of all the IT assets out there.
I absolutely, and Andre, you always make really great points. And I been in identity management for, I have enough gray hair in my beard that you probably can see to give away how many years I've been in identity management. It's been a very long time, but I've never been more excited than I am now. And part of that is the Ping Identity and ForgeRock coming together and all the great capabilities that we have to deliver to the customers to attack and build the solutions they need and to attack their threats that are coming on. You know, it's interesting. I started out in biometrics, you know, 1999 even. Gosh, now I really am dating myself. And I used to run around and said, forget your password, right? And I was always about getting rid of passwords. And I became a huge skeptic because I had been trying to fight that battle for too many years. In the past 2 years, I've seen the huge turn into we're getting rid of passwords. We're finally doing it. FIDO2 is here. I think the next thing that we talk about is how do we make that login experience so simple? And there, you know, there was, as ForgeRock used to say, never log in again. And now I am seeing, you know, with technology, with leveraging AI for the good, and being able to do, Andre, as you said, that continuous authorization, that continuous analyzation of a session, we are actually seeing customers out there saying, I don't want that token to expire for a year, and that we trust that that's strong enough authentication. So now you're actually seeing that come into being. And the next thing that everybody's been talking about for 5 to 7 years that is really important is how do I control my data privacy? How do I trust who I give data to? And there's been a lot of different, you know, regulations put in place to try to enforce that trust and that data security. But now we have technology and decentralized identity to allow an end user once again to have full control over their data. So I see great horizons and great new capabilities in identity, and I see a company that I'm a part of, super exciting company that I'm a part of, positioned to go and deliver on those. And so to me, a lot of the things that I've been talking about for 20 years are finally coming to fruition. So maybe I need to go find somebody who's 20 years my junior to tell me, hey, what is it we're going to be doing in the next 15 years or even 10, because these technology timelines are coming down. But that's where I see it. I see us moving to this, you know, land where we all have more control over our data and our identity. We're not prompted to authenticate as much, yet we are even more secure than we've ever been in the past. And that's that panacea we've all been reaching for. And as soon as we get there, it'll be the next thing, and I can't wait to see what that is as well. So
thank you. So now time for Q&A. So Q&A possibility still open to the audience. Feel free to drop your questions up. First question, most likely from a ForgeRock customer or from ForgeRock user. Matt, can you elaborate a bit on the difference between identity orchestration in the sense of Da Vinci and in the sense of intelligent authentication, which is part of the ForgeRock product stack?
yeah, no, that's a really good question. And you know, I mean, at the end of the day, they're very similar. It's just how they are accessed. And Da Vinci was built as a universal orchestration tool that is very good at orchestrating identity flows, but is also very good at orchestrating any kind of API chain that you want to put together. And so, you know, Da Vinci is a service that allows you to do that. and allows you to have these larger types of flows where, as I said, you can stitch together an identity journey to an information change, an order, whatever other system application you want to stitch together in a journey for somebody. So it's just one after the next, and everything's at their fingertips. Intelligent access trees is more in line and embedded into the identity management system, and it's really, you have to you can access outside of it as well. It's just not as readily easy to do that. You use scripts, you can do that, but it's more geared towards orchestrating those particular journeys for identity management. It does it very, very well. It pulls in external capabilities very well. But if you want to go beyond that and do, you know, the next phase down the line, that's where DaVinci will really help you go to the next level when it comes to developing those user journeys from just authentication to here's task A and here's how I get it done all the way to the end.
Maybe to put that a little bit into the context, when Matthew, you mentioned how long you are in the industry already, looking back at the beginning of the 2000 years, and the first access management tools really got popular. Typically, it's the possibility to click a checkbox saying, hey, I want to have, in that case, MFA happening or smart card authentication happening or something like that. But it was a kind of checkbox approach to configure something for the authentication. So kind of first generation. The second generation was then really having a chain of checks to make and say, hey, yes, successful, proceed, or unsuccessful, failed, and that's it. And then the third generation somehow was a kind of tree approach, yeah, where you're really having a lot of flexibility in order to make a more comprehensive configuration. And then from that point of view, I would say DaVinci is now really on that level with having flexible nodes where you can design a very complex journey. And today we really have that kind of requirement, because it's not just about authentication. It's about, hey, I want to authenticate the user, and then using this opportunity to also enroll a kind of fallback mechanism for multi-factor authentication, or propose him to also enroll passkey, or to go into the video ident, and so on. So it's really designing a comprehensive, complex journey, and I think that's something. If you don't have these capabilities in your solution today, it's a good idea preparing for that, because the demand for that is dramatically increasing based on the many risks we were talking about before.
Thank you, Andre. Next question is more focused on the Ping Protect base. Is Ping Protect in combination with DaVinci a kind of ITDR, so identity threat detection and response, where the Protect piece detects something and the DaVinci kind of responds in the right manner? Can you say so from a product management or technical perspective?
So I think leveraging any kind of fraud detection capability and Protect being a very, very good one, and the thing that's really excellent about Protect and the way it was architected is that it is a continuous authorization. So every time you want to do something, we can evaluate what's going on. We can take a look at that session, and if you start doing things that are weird, we can flag that up as well. And you can combine that capabilities with any orchestration engine, and DaVinci being a fantastic orchestration engine to be able to reach out to those other types of applications. You can really turn it into an ITDR solution, right? So whether it's at logon time, whether it's application access time, whether it's halfway through the session, you can see that the session's been hijacked. You can send that to your SIM system. You know, you can easily kill an identity session, say you don't have any access here, but then you can use DaVinci to send that over to a SIM system to go and do a whole bunch of other things that it's orchestrated. It doesn't have to be human intervention. It's just, it can be automated API calls. You get the response, you go to the next thing. So you can absolutely leverage that in that kind of manner to develop, you know, your ITDR type of system.
Great, thank you. So,
yeah, I think what's make it a little bit complicated nowadays is that a lot of capabilities are somehow seen in the ITDR bucket. Yeah, therefore there are a lot of ITDR vendors out there which are doing completely different things and not competing against each other, but really somehow complementary. But Matthew, to your point, ITDR is really kind of approach in which you have to bring together a lot of different information sources in order to make good decisions, to understand things, and to react in the right way. And doing that without having orchestration capabilities would be a very challenging task. Even with orchestration is challenging, but without, likely you're not able to really provide a kind of ITDR within your organization, I would say. Yeah.
Great. Two additional questions, and the time might work out for that. Will Ping best practices and functionalities be integrated into ForgeRock? If so, when can we expect to see additional functionality? I think in parts it's answered, but probably you can give a short statement on that, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I think some of that is you're seeing all the what we at Ping Identity now call universal services, which is all that innovation that both companies went through and did, which is now going to be available across all of the stacks. So in that regard, you know, that is our Q1, Q2 priority on our roadmap, is to make all these great new innovations available to all of our customers, regardless of where the capability comes from and regardless of what, you know, heritage product line our customers are on. On the other side of that, you know, you talk about some of the capabilities from Ping coming into ForgeRock and some of the capabilities of ForgeRock going into Ping, and we're just talking about our base platforms. And, you know, I don't want to get into too far down the roadmap in the weeds, but one of the things that the Ping One platform does really well is they have application-specific policies. And the ForgeRock platform, you can do that, but it's one of those things that, you know, requires a little bit more customization and creativity. And we are looking to, by the end of the year, take the capabilities from Ping One for application-specific authorizations and policies and put them into the ForgeRock platform. So that's just one example of how we are leveraging the capabilities and the technology from one to bring into another. There's a lot of other things about, you know, Kubernetes and failover and things about how clouds are run that's going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of technology sharing that you will see innovation in the base platforms based on both being combined as well as these universal services.
Thank you. Andre, something to add?
No, completely like your answer on that point, Matthew. Thanks for that.
A very long questions. How will the newly combined company use all its capabilities to solve for identity proofing, such that the root of the chain of custody is immutable, and inform all subsequent inheritance when new credentials are created, regardless of centralized or decentralized storage? So a very specific one. Given the limited time, I hope we can give at least a brief answer. If not, dear participant, feel free also to reach out to us afterwards to have a more detailed discussion on a very specific question. But Matt, go ahead.
So I'm going to say this very quickly, and then I'm going to pass it over to Andre because he's come up with all the brilliant answers. But, you know, I think if you listen to that question, there's a lot going on there. And so I think even an identity management company won't be able to provide all the different permutations of that identity that's asked, because you have to leverage so many other organizations. So I think when you look at providing that immutable identity that's changed and it's, you know, it's capable of being out there all the time, we provide some of the tools. So, you know, we have verify, we have the ability to issue that, and then you have orchestration to stitch all that together so that you can verify all those things that you need to build that identity. It's like contact the right government agency, contact the right, whether it's utilities or banking or whatever you need to do to create that. And so to me, I look at it, we are going to provide the tool sets to allow Andre and his team and Heiko and your team to come in and craft that solution for a customer. What do you think, Andre?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think the last sentence was, from my point of view, the most important one. You are providing the tool set to do that, yeah. But in order to build that kind of immutable, unique identity, that's something which we, and I explicitly include here the audience, has to do, because it's not just a technical question, but it's also kind of question from the business logic perspective. Yeah, having the situation that there someone is working for different organizations at the same time. Both are suppliers to your organization. How are you dealing with that? How are you dealing with that person is your customer, but at the same time your employee, and then he's leaving your company, not your employee anymore, but still your customer. These kind of situations are quite tricky, and unfortunately, that's not a kind of technical thing. Otherwise, it would likely be easy to solve it, but it's really something which requires a lot of logic, thinking, designing. But I think the point really is, and that's something what we able to be highlighted, that's a tool set. Solving it is today with the new Ping identity much more comprehensive than it was before. And now I think we have all the pieces of the puzzle together to build something which really covers that, challenging requirement.
Great, Andre. So if there is any question open out there, or if there's any question popping up the second after you've closed the windows, feel free to reach out at any time. You can meet the three of us at Gartner. I am in London, March the 4th and the 5th. So feel free to come to our booth, say hello, talk with us or our team, or schedule an appointment. Ping Identity has the Ping Customer Roadshow, which is in London, in Paris, in Amsterdam, and Frankfurt. So feel free to do a registration there. Drop us a message if you need the link. If Google doesn't show it to you, you can probably visit all 4 locations and doing a quick Europe journey like Matt is doing as well. So a vacation trip based on identity and access management with Ping Identity. It was a pleasure for me to have a very exciting and good conversation with you, Andre and Matt. Thanks for the time. Thanks for coming. Thanks for the audience about all the good questions you shared. As said, feel free to reach out at any time if you can answer some last questions in the future. Thank you very much, Andre, Matt. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. Have a great day.